ICN started back in 1984 in Victoria, and the reason we started was to give small businesses an opportunity to link up with projects. Very soon, we spread across the country and onto New Zealand as well. The reason for our success? The reputation that we have built over the years with project owners. Don't forget that we have a very committed and skilled team of consultants across the country working in our local ICN offices. They verify the small businesses that they work with and link them up with the projects. There are no restrictions when it comes to the project side of things. We can work with anyone locally, regionally, and even globally. However, if you happen to be a small business, you need to be registered in Australia or New Zealand.
Hi everyone, my name is Warren Jansen and I'm the CEO of the National Office of ICN. And if you're watching this, you're obviously part of ICN's ICT Summit, which is being hosted today. And first up, a very big thank you to all of you for giving your time to be part of this very important conversation. And a big thank you to all of our speakers as well for sharing their knowledge, experience, and expertise on a topic that has quite a significant impact on our day-to-day lives and not just in our workplaces alone. Now, this event is actually a series of events that ICN is hosting throughout 2024 to commemorate ICN's 40th year anniversary. That is correct. ICN is 40 years this year, and that is a very significant milestone for us ever since we commenced operations in Victoria in 1984 as the Industrial Supplies Office. However, the story actually began in the 1950s when they discovered oil in the North Sea, and the Norwegians set up a model to ensure industry participation was strong. That model was then replicated by the British in 1973 when they set up the Offshore Supplies Office for the same purpose of ensuring industry participation remains strong. Now in Australia, ICN has been around since 1994 and we have been connecting buyers and suppliers. And to ensure that that story is being told for the next 40 years, ICN is hosting an event at Parliament House on the 14th of August. Yep, that's correct. 14th of August, Great Hall, Parliament House, and we wanted to be part of that very important occasion, which will be an occasion for you to network with stakeholders and also meet lots of buyers and suppliers. Now, what we will be doing at this event is actually launching a report authored by Professor Roy Green on the economic benefit of ICN's contribution over the last 40 years and why it is essential to have an ecosystem driven by ICN for the next 40 years to actually connect businesses and suppliers. The event will be headlined by Industry Minister Ed Husic, and we will have lots of different stakeholders whom I'm sure you will benefit from meeting on the day. So please be part of that occasion as we commemorate this important milestone. And once again, a very big thank you, not just to the participants of this particular summit, but to everybody who's backed ICN and who's been part of the work that we have been doing over the last 40 years to ensure that suppliers have a really good opportunity to connect to the mega projects in Australia and across the world. So once again, thank you very much and enjoy the rest of the summit.
Hello, and welcome back to the next part of the Unlocking Digital Horizons 2024. And you joining us live, and Louise and I are sitting in the Canberra office, and we are your MCs for the day. So if you've just joined us, welcome. It's been a great lineup so far, and we are so looking forward to the next couple of sessions that lead us to the closeout at around 4 o'clock this afternoon. A couple of things before we introduce our next speaker is just to remind you that to participate in the Q&A sessions, click on the Q&A button, and it will then allow you to be able to put questions in related to the session that you've just watched. So we are so looking forward to having you join us for this afternoon, and I'll hand over to Louise to introduce our next speaker. Thanks, Louise.
Thanks, Mike. So next up, we're going to hear from Stepanka Halik, who's the CEO and founder of ConstructMaps, and her Chief Marketing Officer, Ashley Campbell. Stu is the visionary leader at the forefront of innovation in the construction industry. With over 14 years' experience in infrastructure projects, her expertise spans strategic planning, emergency response management, and technology integration. Stu's journey began with recognising the inefficiencies in traditional management systems. This prompted her to develop ConstructMaps, a pioneering online solution for searching, creating, and sharing plans for project delivery processes. With a career dedicated to driving efficiency and collaboration, Stu has held key roles at Water New South Wales, Transport for New South Wales, and the New South Wales Department of Planning and Environment, where she championed the use of technology to empower decision-making. Welcome, Stu and Ashley.
Hi, thank you very much for the introduction, Louise. I'm going to jump straight into it. My name is Stu. First of all, I would like to acknowledge that I'm presenting from the lands of the Gadigal people who traditionally occupied the lands of Eora country, which is located in Sydney. And I acknowledge the traditional custodians of various lands which you all work today, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people participating in this webinar. And I pay my respects to the past, present, and emerging, and celebrate the diversity of Aboriginal people and their ongoing culture and connections to the land and water of New South Wales. And thank you for ICN for hosting this event, Unlocking Digital Horizons. I would like to jump in. We'll be covering the topic of enhancing construction efficiency with automated visual planning, which is probably slightly different to what we've covered so far in this event. And I'll jump straight in and introduce the team. So there'll be myself who will be presenting the first part of this presentation. And as already discussed, I have a pretty diverse background. Started off as an environmental planner in rail, and then slowly worked across all modes of transport, doing planning and delivering infrastructure. I then diversified into data and business analyst, and I have got a background in emergency management where I've attended a number of major events. And Ashley is a marketing executive in Australia, US, and Canada, and he's got vast experience in working for different SaaS organizations. So let's start off first. I'm going to explain about what is ConstructMaps. Well, ConstructMaps is a collaborative mapping platform that integrates industry and individual preferences for different types of activities. So I can't see anyone right now, but if there was a way we were in a face-to-face environment, I would ask, does everyone here know the symbol on the left-hand side or the icon? Can we all relate to what that actually means to us when we look at it? Look, it's basically a symbol that is recognized anywhere across the world. I've seen it on construction sites, on temporary fences, and it generally gives you the visual cue that at that point of time, you probably should be wearing safety glasses because there is a danger or a potential hazard behind there, or it's to protect yourself. So we're going to come back to this slide towards the end of the presentation. So just keep that in mind of what this visual cue will mean. Every day we plan in the construction industry, we communicate with a vast range of stakeholders, whether it's internal or external stakeholders and experts and disciplinary experts. You working with auditors, government agencies, your contractors, administrators, suppliers, specialists, and original custodians. And each of these stakeholders, we communicate with them daily tasks, activities, or what we intend to do with a strategic plan. So whether we are working on a strategic plan or site plans, environmental management plan, possession planning for the rail corridors, stakeholder engagement and community engagement, emergency evacuation plan, incident management plans, and there's a whole raft of others there for the construction industry experts. They'll probably add another 50 to these. And a lot of the information that is presented in these plans, they become quite unwieldy, large documents, when a lot of the time, 90% of the information that is contained in them is about what is where. And so throughout that project lifecycle, we're constantly giving directions to people to go on site to undertake certain activities. So that is the focus of ConstructMaps. And then we come to that of what is the automated visual planning. Well, when you're planning a site, for those that may not be familiar with getting their boots dirty, very much my field, is we have endless checklists, whether it's for environment, for safety, for traffic planning, for stakeholder engagement. So we have automated or translated what is considered the traditional checklist you see there on the left-hand side of the screen, and we have converted to a visual checklist. So on the left-hand side, and I will jump into my other screen where I'll actually show you this interactive platform, how easy it is to use. This is a project in South Australia, in Port Adelaide, 5 installation pits and a new signal connection. And what the project manager did, once he established what the project site would look like, he would then could search for the icons that he was after. So it's very quick and easy to search for icons or templates, or alternatively, you can create your own. So it's like your own icon playlist, essentially. What traditionally does happen or has happened, and this is where we picked up the project, is if you can see my screen, we generally receive something like this. For those of us in the field, we generally receive a lot of PDFs. And they come in with markups and different types of information. So what we have done is made it an interactive version of this, which is very easy to use by anyone and anywhere. So what I will do, just give me a moment. I'm going to jump into my other screen to actually show you how these searching functions and creating your own functions work, and some of the collaborative functions within the platform. I can't even get thumbs up like we can in Teams, so I'm hoping everyone can see this. So I have a whole over here. Oh, so there's a whole project list. So I'll just jump in the different projects that you can set up as how you like. And what happens here is this is where you jump into the interactive version of the platform. So in this particular scenario, this site has been set up. So installation of a few bits, new barriers, and a new ULX under a rail corridor. So it's quite a complex site. And what we have done, this is where the searching for the different icons come into. We cover every discipline from utilities to emergency management to your port facilities, environmental management. And this is where you can, if you're doing works in this area, you can actually put in noise management plan. And what it does, it actually gives you those visual prompts and those visual cues of the things you can automatically add onto here to be compliant and be responsible community member. And what you do, so once you mark them up on this plan, all you have to do is you can just share it with anyone, whether it's with your stakeholder engagement or with your community. You can download it as a QR. So it's a very interactive, intuitive platform. Or if you need to start having a discussion with one of your site specialists, you can also do that in here. We've closed items out that were being audited. So it is a very intuitive, again, it's about that communication, making that really streamlined and easy. So I'll just jump back to my presentation. So now that we've looked at what is that visual planning all about and the ability to search for different plans, also got a couple of examples or case studies of where managers have used it for completely different reasons or different purposes, because it is a flexible platform. The project manager on the left-hand side, a regional road that's been converted and upgraded to accommodate to be a bypass during an emergency. During an emergency incident, they've used it for cost estimating, contract management, tracking progress, communicating with stakeholders and residents, and identifying areas of interest or sensitivities like environment and safety, and using it for whole routes. Again, they've been able to collaborate. It's on the junction with 2 councils. They've very easily been able to just share the link with both of those councils, so everyone is literally on the same page. And the audit on the right-hand side, wind farm operators are using this for their defects post-construction. So a lot of communication happens between this, the landholders, the project owners, and it's been used for board papers, doing those initial site assessments, visually representing and capturing those stakeholder complaints that they have received about each of these sites. One of our key focus areas is, and will continue to be, is in partnership with Zeke Shaw Indigenous Consulting. They have been using it and will continue to use it for cultural engagement, because one of our things is about communications and being able to allow for a much diverse workforce. They're using it for training, creating their own icons when consulting in different countries. So it's got that flexibility to add your own types of icons and create those templates or your own cultural plans so that people can access them and use them to ultimately achieve better outcomes, engage with the stakeholders, communicate instructions, and have those visual cues, just like we have those visual cues on when to put on our safety glasses on site. Same thing and same culture can be developed around protecting certain Aboriginal sites. There's an interactive component to this. I'm not going to jump back into the screen, but what I will do is it's got an interactive aspect to it. And again, you can contact us later, but this is a soil and erosion management plan. And what this does is these icons here, when you've got this link on the left-hand side, it actually links you directly to the EPA requirements, because we're about translating what seems complex to a simpler format. And what you can do is you can actually get your phone out and you can QR code the left-hand corner, and that will take you straight to the project site. So you can zoom in and out, you can just click on the green sediment fence, and it'll link you straight back into these requirements and make it really easy to provide those instructions, and also make changes when a rainstorm event happens. You can just send it to the specialist that can amend it for you, and you're still really keeping everyone on that same page. So I'd like to now hand over to my colleague, Ashley.
Thanks, Stu. Hopefully everybody can hear me okay through the system. So just following on from what Stu is saying, Rachel will definitely answer that question you had about the challenges for small, medium businesses adopting visual planning. But I think if we go to the next slide, if everybody's finished scanning. Yeah, we kind of really just wanted to hone in on this, because we're moving into a different stage of learning. We're obviously a lot of technology people are online today, but when we're looking at the people joining into the workforce when it comes to planning, we're having a very diverse workforce. So visual learning, as we're all aware, has become to the next stage. It's very much headline readers, and people want to have things explained simply. So when designing the software out, we really looked at how we can expand this. So if you are thinking more so, this just seems too simple, you know, people were saying the same things about Canva when it came online versus Adobe. You know, people are just looking for a simplified version of doing things. And that's really what we're trying to do, and we're striving to continue to do, is make this really easy to use, no matter who's part of the workforce. And as remote locations become ever more accessible, having this information at a click of a button, whether it's on a phone, an iPad, is just a go-to thing now. So, you know, if we're on a cell phone and you're working on an electrical system remote or on a farm, having that information that Stu just showed clickable, that they know what device is in that location, they can pull up the spec sheet of it, just saves time, what produces efficiencies in the workplace. Also, integration with management. I'm a complete tech nerd as well as marketing nerd, so I love integrations, what makes my life easier. So we've made this so it integrates. So if you are using, you know, Asana or more complex systems, when we say integrates, we can link in the link, what we just showed you, and that takes you straight into a communication tool that can be adapted and changed depending on access that you give certain contractors or certain employees. So we're not dealing with stagnant, stale documents. It's always being updated and clear to manage. Customized icons does seem very simple, but every industry has certain icons we use. Stu used a fantastic illustration. No matter whether you're in North America, Europe, or Australia, New Zealand, certain symbols are always going to be used no matter what. So that's important coming in from different industries, that you guys can import your own icons and also your own templates. So if you have a certain project or a client has a certain project, you can customize this all ready for their background and industry. Access to real-time information, it's kind of a must now. Nobody wants to be waiting for load speeds or also out-of-date documents. People need quicker access as much as we can. So those, just like we showed you in the illustration, having real access to documents that you're using on a day-to-day basis, or if you're updating it in the back end in your office, having people on the ground bound to access the most modern document is really important and is the new standard. Innovating, and this is where we come to you guys. We are always looking to improve and make changes. So if you have, you know, an opportunity where you may see some integrations coming in, we really want to talk to you guys and kind of help build out our platform as we grow. So I think I don't have control of the presentation, so I think Stu might jump back on at this point. So I think at this point, I think we're going to open it up very much to FAQ. But as looking at this slide, it's what we've already mentioned. It's, you know, it's kind of common sense of what we do and why we use symbols. We have another question that just came in. Stu,
yeah, I can grab the first one if you like.
So I'll taking our jobs away from us.
Go on.
You know what? It was the fancy tie. I was like, I'm jumping on Mike's job now.
Yeah, go on. Louise gets very sensitive about people taking the questions. Yeah, Louise, do you want to ask the questions?
He jests. So, look, yes, there are a couple of questions, and we did want to pose those to you, if that's okay. So, and we don't mind who answers. You can decide amongst yourselves. But yeah, what do you see as the common challenges that SMEs are facing when adopting automated visual planning systems?
Look, I'll take this one, and Ashley, you can take number 2. It's not necessary. We've designed this because I've been in the industry quite a long time, and my focus has always been the community and the small to medium-sized enterprises, and there's programs constantly being run to engage with the local community, especially large-scale projects that are happening in the region. So I don't see it necessarily as a challenge. It's more about, it's that collaborative function, that it is about both the parties actually being involved in this. So also the owner of the project to go, actually, this is a great way for the SMEs to communicate with me. And it's really accessible and flexible. And that's one of our focus. And you can opt in and out, scale the project up and down without costing you a mint for the technology piece. So it provides them with that professional platform to create all those site plans that you have to, all those safety plans. So it's actually a bonus because any SME can use it, and it does make it a lot more intuitive and easy for them to use and develop their own systems to complement what they're doing.
Brilliant.
Great. And so jumping straight to question 2 there, please, Ashley. Do Department of Housing use ConstructMaps for their pipes and other activities?
Great question. Currently not at this moment, but it does lead to another answer with our overlaying system. So you can overlay maps onto our existing maps. So if you have detailed plans, it makes it super easy to put those in our software so you can see current layouts.
So you can integrate workers executed plans with ConstructMaps?
Sorry, what?
Stu?
Yeah, workers executed plans. Sorry, yes, I'm not sure what you mean by that, Louise.
Yeah, so when work is completed on particular sites and things like that, you can that new infrastructure can be updated into ConstructMaps.
Yeah, and that's what I partially showed you. I didn't want to go into too much detail, but from that auditing perspective, that's what the wind farm in regional Victoria, that's what they're using it for, is to actually close out those items that they've picked up. And you can use it from whether you're commenting on a strategic plan or trying to just establish what industries are close by or working on the local regional plan. You can just close out all of those items in the platform and have that list available to you in the back end.
Yeah, great. Excellent. And we had another question pop up while we were talking. So what future changes do you foresee in the field of automated visual planning, and how is ConstructMaps preparing to incorporate these to stay ahead of the market?
Well, one of those ways, and I think someone touched on it a little bit earlier, is one of the reasons why we started developing this platform is because, like, I love technology, simple as that. I've been a planner, and there's a lot of things that are repeated, that we do repetitiously, and incorporating AI. So one of those things around searching for templates, searching for icons, that's going to over time become smarter and more intuitive. So ultimately you get better outcomes in the field. You get better safety outcomes when everyone can recognize visual cues. They'll be able to respond without having to read a whole page of instructions. I know I used to write this without having to write that. So we're incorporating the AI smarts behind that searchability function. So whatever activities you're undertaking, whether it's asbestos removal or doing more complex works, it'll become more intuitive, and those prompts will become a lot clearer, and you'll be able to get your compliance information also available to you.
I think I'll just tag on the back of Stu's answer there. And I think we're seeing technology being integrated more and more into a lot more sectors, and the building industry in North America with AR and AI, like, it's being more used. And I think with the generations coming through, it's just going to be expected to have visual planning like this at the fingertips instead of searching through data. So, and I think we're seeing that especially with load times and people's patience. Nobody's wanting to search through major paper plans anymore. So having something at the fingertips, I think, will just become the standard. And I think technology, we're going to see massive leaps in the next 2 to 3 years in this sector.
Yeah, I think you're right. You're right there. Absolutely.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, guys, thank you so much, Stu and Ashley. I think your presentation really articulates how an SME can utilize technology to, revolutionize the business as usual fundamentals of your business, and obviously those are value adds to your client base, both current and future. So thank you so much, and I have no doubt that we'll see you in the future with billboards all over the country. And thank you again for both your time.
In the meantime, though, people can go and visit you in the booth and have a chat.
Yep, we'd love to have you there.
Excellent.
Thanks so much. Thanks, guys. So before we close out the session, and are joined by Andrew Coloni and Daniel McCormack from ICN, which will be starting shortly, please remember to keep the conversation going on socials, #ICN event. And also just keep on joining our booths as well and visiting the respective booths to have a chat to the various different stakeholders that we've got involved today. And finally, I'd just like to give another shout out to our sponsors, the Australian Government Department of Industry, Science and Resources, ConstructMaps, who we've just heard from, as well as our silver sponsor, Innovation Central Canberra ICC. So with that, we'll see you very shortly. Thanks again.